We are playing 100 years of Nintendo. You'll see every console, real Nintendo toys from 60 years ago, and some things barely ever shown on YouTube. And we're beginning with 1920. Do I look like an old citizen? 100 years ago, in the 1920s, Nintendo was making playing cards. And I'll make this very quick for you. People were playing cards back in the 1920s. There's a bunch of cool pictures. That was a 1920s thing. Let's move on to actual fun things with the 1960s of Nintendo. So here is a recreation of a 1960s Nintendo toy called the Ultra Hand. And what this toy does is you can extend this whole arm and grab these balls that are included and maybe even some other things too. I've never used one. So to my understanding, we're gonna extend. Look at this, dude, this thing is huge. I can extend toward the camera. Ready, jump scare, ready? Hiya. All right, let's try to grab the red ball. So we're gonna hold the lever. We're going to extend. That part opens up, okay. We keep extending. Now it has to extend all the way for it to close. So hang on, I got this. I got it, look at that. Got the red ball with the Ultra Hand. I feel like I'm holding a very, very fragile piece of Nintendo history. But these balls are boring, so let's try to get a real world object. All right, we hold the lever. Will this work? Getting this lined up here. It's gonna be tough, it's gonna be tough. Okay, we got it, sort of. Okay, well, we can pull it, but I cannot. I'm gonna break this. It's starting to bend. I'm gonna break. No, okay, you know what? I can't go any further. It cannot pick up a can of Coca-Cola. I was very, very close to breaking it. That's fun, especially in 1960. Now, my friends, in the 1970s, this is where Nintendo got their video game start that you know today. We have the Japan exclusive Color TV Game 6 video game console. So this was their first ever home console. Now, believe it or not, this little guy actually sold 1 million units in Japan back then. Impressive for what it actually is. All right, Color TV Game 6, turn it on, and we have what appears to be a version of Pong. Now, this is designed to be played with 2 players. You have these 2 little knobs here, and when you move them, the Pong paddles move. All right, we've brought cameraman Alonso to come and play Pong with me. Ready? Okay, I got that. It's going. Okay, I got this one. We are having a game of Pong. This is how the Nintendo fans did it in 1970s. Okay, we're keeping steady here. We're keeping steady. Those balls in the middle are helping me. Let's freaking go. But dude, like buying this, coming home from school, playing Pong with the bros in Japan, I mean, what a time to be alive. Anywho, we'll just let that ball stay there while we go to the next segment. Legend has it, it's gonna be there for the rest of this video. Now for the 1980s segment, Nintendo came out strong by releasing the Game & Watch toy. This was a tiny little handheld system you can play some games on. And fun fact, you can buy a better version of it nowadays. They remade them, you can see right here. It looks solid. Now, after the Japanese got bored of playing Pong all day, Nintendo made the revolutionary invention of the Nintendo Entertainment System, like what most people know to be Nintendo's first console. So here we have a classic controller, and we got a few games. We got the original Mario Bros, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and Kung Fu. Let's get this set up and show you what real gaming is like back in my day. I wasn't even alive. All right, we're all set up and ready to go. So what we do now is we open up this little flap here. Y'all don't know about this. And then we insert our cartridge. We have Mario Bros and Duck Hunt. Let's insert, and then we push down, and that should work. Now, if we hit the power button, we have Mario Bros and Duck Hunt for the Nintendo Entertainment System. We hit start. All right, and we are in Mario Bros. This is what y'all might know about, but have you ever played it on the original hardware? We got that full wide screen, great 8-bit graphics as we complete the level right there. This is NES gaming. We're playing with power. Now for the facts here, the NES sold over 60 million units and is kind of where some of the big Nintendo series started, like Punch-Out, Zelda, Metroid. It was also the first controller with a D-pad, which is great for Punch-Out. All right, I'll just let Glass Joe get his only win while I switch over to our next console. And now after the NES, Nintendo wanted to get back to their Game & Watch ways, sort of. So they released the Game Boy. However, not this Game Boy. This one came out much later, but it does play play original Game Boy games, and we have that. We're gonna look at Super Mario Land, a game for the 1989 Nintendo Game Boy. So all we do is just slide it in. Now on this Game Boy model, it sticks out quite a bit. On the original, it ain't like that. Oh, look at this. Now, it wasn't this colorful back in 1989, but this is the reimagined version that is best for our viewers watching this video. Overall, Game Boy was a major success for Nintendo, but I think we have more successes for Nintendo to get to. Next up, in 1991, Nintendo came with a banger. You were playing with power before, now you're playing with Super Power. This is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, a better Nintendo Entertainment System. And our game for show is the very, very popular and fun Super Mario World. Push down and we're good to go. So this officially came out in 1991 and they sold 49 million of these. I say let's connect it and see if those 49 million people were actually happy with it. And with our SNES hooked up, we just flip the power switch and we have, oh, Nintendo presents. What do they present? Come on, Super Mario World. We got that all hooked up. Mario jumps on a Koopa. It's a good day. Here's good old Mario World. We have Yoshi coins I can't collect, big old bullet bills. I mean, compared to the NES Mario Bros, you can very clearly see a difference in graphic quality. This was the new big thing back in the day everyone was freaking out over, and I can see why. I'm having a solid time on my Super Nintendo Entertainment System. All right, well, the SNES also had Family Feud, and we have to name a pet that draws crowds to pet store windows. Let's go with a dog. And hey, we got $2,000. That'll pay for our SNES. Well, with that new $2,000, we can buy our next console that we gotta show you. Now, in the glorious year of 1996, Nintendo made the Nintendo 64. You've seen this before, right? It's a good time. We got a couple games as well. We got Mario 64 and Mario Tennis. And as per all the old Nintendo consoles, you take the cartridge, you put it in. That's it. Hey, look at that. We got Mario 64. All right, let's run it. Look at this. We can tug at Mario's nose. Oh, yes. Look at this. I got his nose. Good old times. Now, some people just think this is the full game, but if you press start, oh my God. And here we are. Mario's got no hat. But we do have Peach's Castle. Now listen, if you've never seen this game before, I like to be nice on YouTube, but you're under a rock. And look, Mario could even fly around with his little hat wings and get all these coins. I mean, to call this game revolutionary after everything that we've seen so far is an understatement. It really puts in perspective how game-changing a 3D Mario was at this time. Now, Mario Tennis is also a game that existed. So for the N64 itself, though, this console sold 33 million units. Now, in Nintendo's eyes, bit of a flop, but this, at the very least, was a console enjoyed by very many, and especially tennis fans. Now for the next console, Nintendo has had a few flops in their history, but never one quite this big. In 1995, Nintendo released the Virtual Boy, and the easiest way to describe it is virtual reality before virtual reality. It was a pair of red goggles on a stand, and you look in there, and you can play 22 games. Yes, there were only 22 games released, 14 in North America. That's how bad the Virtual Boy sold. And if you want to buy one now, get ready to spend your life savings. It sold 770,000 units, which sounds like a lot. It's not at all. So then they discontinued it after 1 year. L for Nintendo, but they bounced back with this next console. But now after making home consoles in the 90s and 80s, in the 2000s, specifically summer of 2001, the world was met with the Game Boy Advance, but like the Game Boy earlier, not this exact model. This here specifically is a Game Boy Advance SP that came out in 2003, and we will be playing Pokemon Leaf Green, the greatest Game Boy Advance game of all time, in this guy's opinion. I mean, the music, the little graphics, everything. Back in the 2000s, before the iPad came out and you made kids shut up that way, the Game Boy Advance and Pokemon was the original method. Pidgeotto has fainted. Boom, this is that Pokemon Leaf Green. And you'll be happy to know Game Boy Advance players were also playing Mario Kart. Now, as for the Game Boy Advance, this console sold 81.5 million units. You know, the previously successful Game Boy must have helped this Game Boy Advance's case. Greatest intro of all time. Until our next console. Now, shortly after the Game Boy Advance released, Nintendo figured people like taking consoles on the go. So I present to you the first ever home console with a handle. The Nintendo GameCube, with its very iconic controller. Now, the GameCube was actually my first console growing up, so this is bringing back a whole lot of memories. Let's play my favorite GameCube game, and that would be Animal Crossing. Now, I did say the Game Boy Advance intro was pretty good, but I present to you don't question it. Now, I will say, I've always loved how eerie the home menu is. I mean, if you listen to the sounds of it, it sounds like a ghost must have made this. All right, but we do need a disc. Now, to put in a disc, we open up the very satisfying section of the GameCube. We pop in the nice mini DVD disc. Oh yeah, push down, close. All right. Let's load up my copy of Animal Crossing, will ya? Ah, look at this, all the cool villagers. And I can now run all around. Tom Nook is stopping me. Everything's happening. The GameCube can hold a lot more game data. Now, while we follow Tom Nook, the GameCube itself sold 21 million units, which to Nintendo, after the Game Boy and the NES and SNES, was a flop. Tom Nook wants me to pick a house. I'm gonna pick this one, and maybe in that house we'll find our next console in the 2000s. I see it. Let's transition. Then folks, 2004 was a great year because it brought us the Nintendo DS. Look at the console, there are two screens. This is Nintendo's first ever dual screen handheld. And this is actually my childhood DS, so we have a ton of just downloaded games all in here. We even have the earlier mentioned Game & Watch game on the DS. It folds, it's nice. This was the next evolution after the Game Boy. You can put it in your pocket. It fits very swell. There's me at 3 years old. This console was mine. But then also, you can pull out a little stylus from the console, and we now have a touch screen system. Let's play a touchscreen game. I have prepared Nintendogs for us to play. You have a dog, you can call his name, you can pet him. It's just like owning a real dog. I named him Fret because of my favorite Animal Crossing villager. There's also a microphone, so I have to say, Fret. Oh my god, he heard me. He heard me. He heard me. Oh my god, he heard me. He's here. Okay, I got Fret. All right, let's go. Now we can pet him for the first time in all these years. Okay, oh, he's mad at me. And folks, the features are endless. We now have a camera to play with. So if we press the camera, oh, buddy, you can see me. I've taken my picture. Let's see if you all like it. Here it is. I took advantage of the distortion feature. All right, and while I play Paper Airplane Chase, I will tell you, the Nintendo DS is the best-selling Nintendo console of all time, with over 154 million units sold. They had the Nintendo DS, the DS Lite, the DSi, the DSi XL. There were a lot of Nintendo DSs. But next we have one of the best Nintendo consoles ever. Let's not keep you waiting. Now for the console I would consider my early childhood. Fun fact, it was released about 10 days before I was born. The Nintendo Wii. This has to be one of the best looking Nintendo consoles. The clean white, the Wii remote that fits comfortably in the hand, the disc slot, the buttons. It even has backwards compatibility with GameCube. We even have our sensor bar on top of the TV. Let's go ahead and turn on our Nintendo Wii and our controller. And we get the good old warning screen at the start. Ah, the good old menu. I was gonna say the best in Nintendo history, but we have that later. And this is the great menu. You can even check the weather, you can check news articles. The Wii even introduced Mii's as we know them. But for now, we need a game to play. We have good old Wii Sports. My old disc still works. Now I'm gonna give myself a challenge. You know, there's many sports. There's bowling, there's baseball. I'm going to try to get a strike in bowling, but I'm only gonna give myself 3 tries. All right, my bowling arm is ready. Max, the Mii, is also primed and ready to go with this blue bowling ball. See, the Wii introduced the revolutionary motion controls. That was a big part. So, here they go. Come on, come on. Close. All right, attempt number 2. This is gonna be it. That's a strike right there. Second try. Now, while I hit a home run in Wii Sports, some info on the Wii: it sold over 101 million units. And it's one of Nintendo's most successful consoles of all time. Next up, I love these handhelds. We have the Nintendo 3DS family of systems. I say family of systems because they released a ton over the generation. But here we have the new 3DS XL and the new 2DS XL, the best models. It's got all the same features, a touchscreen, a camera, and more. But a big part of the 3DS was this little slider over here, which turns on 3D. And I'll show you all the best 3DS game of all time: Animal Crossing New Leaf. My favorite game of all time. Oh, and here I am still dressed for fall. Now with the DS and 3DS, Nintendo was making their games very wacky. So a very cool feature in Animal Crossing is if I use this megaphone, I can yell out a villager's name and they might respond to me. All right, let's call for Hamfrey. Hamfrey. Look at that, he says, "Oi, you called?" And there's tons of those little features across a ton of different games. And the home menu is more customizable than the DS one. You can make all of the tiles smaller. You can set custom themes, like I can set a Halloween theme. And look at that, we got Mario's Halloween. And you can even make Mii's on the 3DS, unlike the DS. And this is also the first time that you can create a Mii from a photo. So if I take a photo of myself, there it is, it's going to make a Mii. But while it does that, the 3DS has some history. All those 3DS systems I mentioned sold 75 million units overall, which compared to the 154 million DS's sold, is kind of a flop. And now for the Mii that it made of me, that's not me. I mean, why is my face just so tiny? Like, we can make that a little bit bigger. I don't know. I'll never use that again. And fun fact, our next console also takes pictures and it makes Mii's out of them. Let's see if that technology improved. Haters will say I'm lying, but this next console is my favorite Nintendo console of all time, the Nintendo Wii U. Now, the Wii U is, of course, a follow-up to the very successful Nintendo Wii. However, I will say this at the start. This is the biggest flop in modern Nintendo history. It did better than the Virtual Boy. The Wii U sold 13 million units, which sounds like a lot. That's a big number, but the Wii sold 101 million. This is a flop. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on and figure out why. Now, this is the intro for the Wii U, and you might have peeped this controller I'm holding. This is the Wii U gamepad. There's a screen on here that you can mess with while you're playing the game on the TV. And now the reason this is my favorite Nintendo console of all time is because of the charm. I mean, do you hear the music? That's nice. You see all these strangers talking. You'll find the friends list on the home menu. Fine-tune Mii features and, check out screenshots. Like, it's just so lively of a console. And there was even a Nintendo social media site called Miiverse. This is the logo right here. And back when the servers were online, you would see a bunch of real-world people talking on here. Now on the gamepad is where you pick what game you want to play and all that fun jazz, but you can also switch the screens so you can see it all nice and big, and that little Mii Plaza is now on the gamepad. We will play Nintendo Land. Look how fun that disc is. All right, and now we're gonna play one of the many games on Nintendo Land. This is my favorite. It's called Mario Chase. So what's so cool is the person on the gamepad can run away, and the person on the TV doesn't know where I am, and they have to chase me. So as you can see, I'm running and only I can see where I'm going. The TV can't see it. Now, Nintendo Land is fun. It's one of many games that you can play. I should also mention that the Wii U is backwards compatible with the Wii, so you can play Wii games too. Oh, hang on, there's a star. Oh, Yoshi killed me. I got caught in Mario Chase. Not optimal, not my best work. There's a camera on the screen that is capturing my every face. But I told you that we would test the Mii photo technology on the Wii U and see if it's any better than the 3DS. All right, let's take my picture. Let's see what we got cooking. We are creating the Mii. Be better than 3DS. It's, well, you know what? My face is a little bit bigger than it was on 3DS. I don't know how it wanted to choose that one. This is egregious. But after the Wii U flop, Nintendo needed to bring it. After the big old failure of the Nintendo Wii U, Nintendo grew their brains and they developed the Nintendo Switch as we know it. This is Nintendo's first ever hybrid console. We all know how it works. You take the Joy-Cons off, you can switch, or you can change from TV mode to handheld mode. Along with this, they also released the Nintendo Switch Lite, a smaller and cheaper version, and the Nintendo Switch OLED. Now, the OLED did come out in the 2020s, but it's like, same thing, it fits this segment, so I'm gonna include it here. And here's one of the Nintendo Switch's most defining games, Super Mario Odyssey. All the great motion controls, we're running around New Donk City in 1080p graphics. Now for the Nintendo Switch, this is soon to be Nintendo's best-selling console of all time. At the time of recording, it has 153 million units sold, and it'll soon pass the Nintendo DS and PS2 and be the best-selling game console of all time. Subscribe or else! And finally, we have the Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo's fastest-selling console of all time and the newest console as of recording. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 100 more years for part 2.